What's up everyone, welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of A Quiet Place Day 1. It's the third movie in the Quiet Place franchise, this time directed by Michael Sarnoski, who directed 2021's Pig, which starred Nicolas Cage. For A Quiet Place Day 1, we're taken back and follow a woman named Sam and other New Yorkers as they try to survive attacks from creatures that are drawn to the slightest sound. Before I jump into the review, a quick plug. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and make sure you subscribe to keep up with all the videos I post here on the channel. A Quiet Place Day 1 is a worthy addition to the franchise and has some of the same intensity as the first two movies, but it takes a different approach to the concept. I remember the first time I saw A Quiet Place, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was such an interesting concept, especially when it came to how the movie was dealing with sound and integrating that into the story. And then the second movie I thought was really well done because it expanded that world in a very interesting way and gave you a little bit more depth and information about not just the characters, but also the world that was existing as this alien invasion had already kind of taken hold. With this third movie, we're going back to the beginning and we're seeing how things unfold from the start. The start of the alien invasion, we're seeing how people react to this. This is before they know anything about the aliens. This is before they know how to deal with the aliens, how to escape, and it does provide a very interesting approach to this concept. So in the previous two movies, the story was taking place in a rural area, mostly a small town, and was focused on a specific family. Here, the setting, the backdrop is New York City. So we're already at a bigger location. And it's focusing on mostly this woman named Sam, played by Lupita Nyong'o, who is dealing with her own problems as this alien invasion happens. And so we're following her as she has her own very specific goals of what she's trying to do. And we see how she responds to that. And then along the way, she meets a man played by Joseph Quinn, and they form this sort of bond. And it's interesting because these two characters are very different in their attitudes and their approaches. And so they offer a very interesting dynamic. But Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn are both really good actors, especially Lupita Nyong'o in this particular role. She does such a fantastic job with the character of Sam. And just like in the other A Quiet Place movies, so much of what drives the story along is how people are dealing with things when they can't make noise, because that's very dangerous. And so, she has to express herself in ways without using words, and she's very good at that. Her facial expressions, body language, you get a good sense of what is driving Sam and what she's thinking just from watching Lupita Nyong'o's face. And this is also a very emotional story. That's not to say that the other movies weren't emotional. They very much were, especially because you were focused on that family dynamic and had parents and kids and everyone's trying to survive. Here, it's a little different, but you still feel for these characters, especially Sam. She has such an interesting personality, and she's dealing again with her own kind of issues, and you're following her along with her cat Frodo. Frodo is such a great character. You care about these characters, and because the movie is focused mostly on Sam and Frodo, and then of course Joseph Quinn's character a little later, you really do spend a lot of time with these characters, so you get to know them, you care about them deeply, and so whenever they are in danger, you're concerned, and that's driving that intensity in this movie. One of the things this movie does really well is the sound design. I mean, that's something that the other movies did really well too, and it continues here. It helps drive that intensity throughout the movie. And that is really what makes these movies so gripping and interesting, is just how sound is used or not used throughout the story. If I had one criticism about A Quiet Place Day 1, it's that the movie, although very good, and the story is very interesting and the characters are very interesting too, the movie itself doesn't really provide any additional information about the aliens that we didn't already know if you'd seen the first 2 movies. You know, we're going back to day 1 and you see the invasion as it's happening from the beginning. But one of the questions I've always had watching these movies is, why did these aliens invade? And so this movie doesn't really provide any additional information or context about the aliens. I wish it would have provided a little bit more. But that's really the only criticism I have about this movie. I really enjoyed this one. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it is very, very solid. So I'd put it probably on par with the second one. I just thought it was such a great effort, and I really enjoyed the characters, especially Frodo, the cat. I've never been more invested in an animal survival than in this movie. You know, when I talked about the intensity of the scenes where Frodo is in, where, you know, all these different characters are dealing with imminent danger. And so you do worry about them. But I was very worried about Frodo throughout the movie. I mean, I was like on the edge of my seat, like, please don't let anything happen to this cat. But anyway, this movie, I think, was very well done. And I really enjoyed it. And I have enjoyed this franchise, and I can't wait to see what they do next with it. If they do anything next with it. This movie, if you enjoyed the first 2, I think you'll enjoy this one as well. So those are my thoughts on A Quiet Place Day 1. If you want to share your thoughts about the movie, you can do so in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe so you see more videos like this.